Hey guys, back again. Well, I was recording and I had to stop because a freaking truck passed. But the good news is that OBS didn't take that. Okay, the mic didn't take that sound. So if that happens again, then I will not need to redo a video. Okay. So okay, what we are going to do is to make the update function. Okay. So remember that we still don't have the update, the delete, and the authorization token is still not being used inside the application anywhere. So let's actually deal um, with update. So at this point, as I was checking, I think we can just copy and paste stuff because we actually have done this before. So let's just move and start adding. So remember that we are going to, okay, we need one more here. Okay. Remember that since we have Molter and that is taking the request and the response, we need to use the function that uploads in order to get the information that is stored or that is incoming inside the request, so we can use them wherever we want. Okay. So the first thing is that we need an if statement here because okay, at this point is trying to upload the image. So if that doesn't work, then we're going to return this response status with a render, okay, of the current post on where we are, okay, with an error that I showed you before how to make that work, okay, if you want to display an error. Else, we're going to make another check-in here. If the image passed, then we are kind of good there, but we need to check if something happen with the title and the content. If those are empty strings or are empty, then we want to get the image that was uploaded, okay, inside the covers, and remove that image, okay, because we don't want to have an empty title and an empty content with just a cover. Okay, let's save that one. And let me just, okay, I shouldn't need to refresh, but well, let's refresh. I haven't worked with Node in a while, so I've been working with a ton of PHP, so I need to refresh the page when I'm working with PHP. So something to keep in mind is that we have required attributes inside the inputs, so kinda this checking will never be triggered, okay? But just something to have there, I guess. So if I try to update here, you can see that it's going to say, please fill out this field. And that is because we have the required attribute inside here. Okay. So let me just refresh to get that data back. So that's that. At any case, if something happens and we have the title and content empty, we're just going to remove the cover that was uploaded, and then we're going to say a response with a 403. Let's call it 500 again, and we're going to re-render the current post on where we are and say please fill all the form elements in case something came empty. Okay, now let me just check else if, okay, sorry, this one is inside this function, inside this if, so we can do the else here. When everything went right, we have all the information we need, and we will need to see first, we will need to find the post, and this is something that we're going to type by hand, so don't worry about it. So we can go with what we need to do. Okay, so we need to check inside our models the post model and just define one function that we have. You can see that it's telling us what it's going to do. Then we're going to say where. So we need to find the current post on where we are and update that specific post. Okay, how we're going to do it? We're going to add the where clause here and say ID, where the ID of the post is equal to the request params that ID that we are getting. So we are going to get these two, okay, and we're going to update the post that has that ID. Okay, so that should be good. Let's add a semicolon there. Nope, we don't need that because we are going to say then. Remember, I'm not using a async await here because I want to show you how everything is working, and then on future videos I'm just going to change all this to async await. Okay, so I guess we're going to move to something like I forgot the name of the Node framework. It's not Next.js and it's not Nux.js. Something similar to that. I can't remember. So because that uses TypeScript and we have async await there, so we might start using that framework in order to just do all our Node.js stuff. But in any case, I think I have another API using Node, okay, and TypeScript that you can check, and that is connecting to two applications, one with Angular and one with React. Okay, so you can check that inside the channel if you want to know how to do it with TypeScript. Okay, so the point of this one is to use the ORM, okay, in order to make this work and to have something basic that you can understand with Node.js and just improve from here. Okay, so then once we find one, we're going to then receive a post, okay, or receive some information. We're going to encapsulate that information inside this variable. Okay, this only exists inside this then. Okay, so don't try to use it elsewhere. Then we're going to say, let's just grab all this because it's something similar to what we have done. We're going to define the title, content, cover name, and cover URL from the request body title and the request body content. Okay, we already found the post with the old data. Now we're going to define the new data that is coming, okay, from here. So at this point, you can see that we have on line 114 and 115, we have the cover name and the cover URL empty, but we're going to do a checking for that. So don't worry about it. Okay, we're going to say if request file, if we have a file, okay, so we're going to say it's not undefined, then we're going to say cover name equals to that request that file name. Remember, this only is available when we have Multer installed. Okay, we only have the request file when we have Multer. So don't try to use it if you don't have that package installed because it will not return anything. And let's say cover URL, okay, equals to, let me just copy all this. At this point, this is hard coded. We will see later how to make it because we might want to change this to an API. Okay, maybe add more instead of changing what we have inside post controller. Add more update post JSON, update post API, something like that. Okay, or create post API to create new functions here inside this, or even to create a new controller to say post controller API and maybe our controller API. We will see how that works. But So we don't have to rewrite all this or delete all this, and we have everything inside one place. Okay. So we will see how to change this to just fit whatever we need there. But right now, this is just hard coded. We're going to say HTTP localhost 4000 covers and the name of the file. So that is going to be set as the cover URL. Then inside is still this if. We just move this one. Okay. We're going to say again, let covers path equals to tactics covers, and we're going to grab the request. Sorry, body image URL. Image URL. Oh, lol. No, okay, image URL. So we're going to get the parameter. Okay, so there, let me just go back. Okay, we have a hidden input. I can show you inside the single. The hidden input is the current post cover name. Okay, we need that cover name in order to delete what we had in the past. Okay, so in order to delete, just close this one. In order to delete this Lumin picture, we will need to get the name of this picture. Okay, this name that is a reference inside our files, and use that to tell Node what we need to delete. Okay, because we don't want to have all images still there. You know what I mean? That's why I have this hidden with ID image URL and name image URL. Okay, this is what we're grabbing, and the value is the cover name that we have right now. So we're going to define the covers path. This path is specific of that old image in case we have a image that is not undefined. Okay, meaning that we have one image. We're going to do the exact same thing we have been doing and unlink, and we're just going to remove that image, okay, from the directory, from the covers. Again, this is because we don't have, or we don't want, sorry, to have all images taking space inside our server. Okay, then we move to the else, and we say, in case we don't have an image, okay, okay, just let me take a look. Mhm. Just give me a second. I just got a little confused here. This works if request file is not equals to undefined. Okay, so this is the inverse of that. So we're going to grab the request body image URL that is coming, and to set the URL of that object that we're going to append now with the new information inside the model, inside this post. Where is it? Okay, inside this post, we're just going to append whatever we have in the request, incoming in the request. So then here we can actually update the post. Okay, let's just type it. post that update, and we tell it what we want to add, which is these values, the title, cover, oh, sorry, title, content, cover name, and cover URL. That those last ones, the cover name and cover URL, will depend on this checking to grab the new information or to define the old information and keep it there. Okay. So we do a dent here again with a post. And we're going to redirect here once we have everything updated to the post and the specific ID of that post to the page that we were. And we're going to say catch in case something happens. Okay, it's not like this. Okay, my shift doesn't work. Okay. And in that case, if there's an error, we can actually just take this post out because we don't need it. But if you want to do something with this, it's going to return us the old data and the new data. So if you want to do something with that, you can just use the post and get a console it to see what it brings and use it however you want. So if we catch an error, we're going to respond with a internal server error and render again the post. If you want to use this error, you can just set it inside your HTML or inside your book to use it. Okay. And this one, all this one, just check. Okay, so this is the then. Yep. After all this then, I know this is an internal, how can I say this? Promise. We have one promise and then another promise. But at this point, this is okay because this is not that deep inside the processing. So we can just leave it there. And sometimes we will need to do this. In case we have RxJS, we can just do a switch. I can remember pretty well. I haven't worked with Angular in a long time, but I still have some stuff for Angular that I will need to update. Okay, when I have time, once you're working, um, most of the times you don't have the time you had before. So yeah, let's just catch that and say error, console log that error in case something happens there. Okay, so we are cool there. All this should work. And as I said, this shouldn't look that bad. This then, if we just do an async, because yeah, we could just move this one out of the way. Return this post with an await and just use that reference. What we're doing, what we're doing right now is just use the reference inside all is inside this then. So we're using the same reference, but we can just await that, return the reference, and do all the check-ins, and this one will be outside. But yeah, you will see how the structure is going to change when we use async await in future videos. But right now, this is fine. Okay, don't panic. We don't have any other. Once we get to the promise hell, okay, that is the adding then inside another internal then and another internal then. Okay, that is where everything is going to go wrong. We have a high depth of internal dens. But right now, this is cool, so don't worry about that. Sometimes you will have to do it anyways, but with async await, this should change. So let's just leave it there and we can change that later. Maybe I will do a refactor so we can just see what happens. But at this point, I'm not sure, mostly because of work. Okay, so let's just do a refresh here. And let's just make a change and say second post updated. Updated. This is a post with new data and update. Okay. You can see we get information and that redirect. I'm not sure why that happens. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I think on past versions that didn't happen, but I will need to check why Express is doing that and how to remove it because it's actually annoying to do that. But at least we have the process working. Okay, and you can see we have the image. So if I go here, let's move this one, and I'm inside covers. Okay, this is all the images we have. Okay, so let me just choose a new file. Let me go to my media and my downloads here. Let's pick a good one. This one, I guess. Open. You can see we're loading a new image here. Okay, I click that and that. Okay, let's just open. And now we can say update. It's going to redirect. See what happens. Okay, Lumin is gone. We have Gene now. And we can say, we can click there and we update it to this picture of this image of Gene. Okay, so that is working. We're removing the image, okay, that the old image and just replacing that with the new data. So we don't have, or we will not have any leftovers from that post. Okay, so let's just go to here and you can say, you can see that this is looking kind of good. So at this point, we will need only to check the delete. And I think I will just do a quick video about the delete. And yeah, just to have it on its own video, you know. So, okay, this will be all for this one. Thank you guys and see you in the next one.